Hey, good morning from the office. I'm your host, BKP, the voice of rural America, North Georgia's only live online morning show. I need a little help this morning, folks. If you can hear the fan running, please text me, 706. Let's tell them how to get in touch with us, Sam. Good morning, Sam. 706-889-9700, 706-889-9700, chief at fetchernews.com, and also on Twitter at fetchernews and at FYNTV. If you hear a loud fan in the background, please text me immediately. Our air conditioning, and we have a great guy that comes down and looks at the AC. He'll be down early this morning, but it went out yesterday. When else does AC go out but July and 92-degree weather? But anyhow, the studio is a little warm and I've got a fan running, so if we can power through it, I'm going to leave the fan on and go jacket free today. If you're okay with that, it's you, the audience, that has to be okay with that. Well, listen, I'm going to make an admission here. I did it. Yeah, I did it. I'm going to make an admission. Today, I will admit, I do not have an email chain to go into. I certainly hope they do not want to secure all my documents because I don't want to be out back with a hammer smashing all these computers and phones. But I was in on the Russian collusion. I was in on it. The collusion to obstruct justice, to get Donald Trump elected. I realized just yesterday I was in on it. If you're in Michigan, you were in on it. Okay, we were in on this thing. I mean, the Russians brainwashed every one of us, not our media, not our delusional CNN that's been caught several times, Donna Brazil that has lied and we caught her, the delusional MSNBC, the intentional attempt to end the presidency and stop the turnaround of this country, that the path has been charted by you out there by voting for Donald Trump. You and if you're new to the show, I will tell you now. If you're not, you're tired of hearing it. When Donald Trump came down the escalator at Trump Tower, I know there's some of you out there saying, oh my God, do we have to hear that again? When Donald Trump came down the escalator at Trump Tower, okay, I knew we were looking at the next president of the United States. I knew it was just there. It was there. The next president of the United States is just come down. When he came to the podium and he looked at the audience and he started talking about those bad hombres, I was just like, whoa, this is the next president of the United States. I predicted he would win Michigan. I predicted he would win Pennsylvania. I predicted Donald Trump would win Wisconsin, Ohio, Florida. I mean, if you were watching this show during the election, I didn't waver on this. I didn't waver on this at all. I mean, there's not a day went by that I didn't stay firm. Some of you out there, got concerned on some days when the Access Hollywood video came out. I got messages, oh my God, is he over? So many things. And there's only one way, folks, that I could have maintained the focus. And at no time, you know it out there. If you have watched the show, you know it. Only one way I could have there's only two ways I could have maintained this focus. And was very clear all along that he would be the next president of the United States. I was either in on it from day one with the Russians. That's the only, hey, that's the only viable, choice you have, right? I was in on it from day one. How could I know this? Or maybe I understood when 20-some thousand people in Michigan stood in an airplane hangar outside of Detroit at 1 a.m. election day because he was late to get there. Donald Trump. Maybe I understood 20-some thousand people standing in an airplane hangar at 1 a.m. in the morning in Michigan all got electronic communication by Russian operatives. I mean, that's what the hell they're talking. Electronic communications by Russian operatives targeted to those people saying, come to that airport. Come now. I mean, seriously, there's no other conclusion other than the Russians told those 20-some thousand people to show up at that airport hangar at 1 a.m. election day. Vladimir Putin sent Donald a message and said, Donald, if you make 9 stops a day, 6, 7, 5 stops a day, and you talk to 20,000, 15,000 people 5 times a day, you can win. Now, what we will do is we will electronically manipulate the brains of those people in those areas to make them get fake news that they will want to come out and hear you. This is the silliest, delusional thought, that the Democrats have that I've ever heard of. Ever. Totally delusional. Now, A, I was either in on this collusion from day one, or B, as arrogant as it may sound, I understood in rural America. I understood. I tell you what, I've not been a lot of places. I'm into Kansas, all right? I'm into Kansas, all right? I worked on a job one time in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri for 3 months. And this goes back. This was Obama's president of the United States, okay? This is 2010. I think it's 2010. I'm at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and I'm working on this project. And here comes the union ironworkers, okay? Union ironworkers. And there's about a dozen of them. And for me to complete the project I'm working on, I had to go around with these union ironworkers, and I had to schedule when they were going to put the brick shelf. Now, we won't get into that. When they were going to weld all the brick shelf in place for the union masons, okay? Union masons, these were good guys. I'm really serious. And I knew then they're not in favor of Obama. Anyhow, I'm just saying, biggest collusion in the world, and I was in on it, and we'll just go from there. I had to have been in on it. Now, we're going to talk later in the show, Obama 2.0, Obamacare 2.0, all right? Oh, where's Donald? Donald's in Gay Paris, right? He's out in Gay Paris. Where's Pepe Le Pew? Give me some Pepe Le Pew. I didn't tell you I was doing that, so if you can get to that. There he is. There's Pepe Le Pew. Okay, well, you got to have Pepe Le Pew if you do a Gay Paris segment, right? So Donald's over there with Macron. It's going to take me 3 days, right? Macron. You know what I'll have to do to learn to pronounce Macron? I'll have to watch Revenge of the Pink Panther, Peter Sellers edition, okay? I'll have to watch one of those, movies so I can learn to pronounce Macron. So Donald's over there, Bastille Day in Paris, but who cares, right? The media, they have him. Morning Joe, I didn't watch today. I didn't watch. I had enough of them. I could not take them one day. I just said, you know what? I have made you a commitment and a promise to come in here and keep up with the enemy of the state the best I could. But everybody deserves a day off from time to time, folks. If you watch that garbage at 6 a.m. to 7, oh my God. Oh, anyhow, Obamacare 2.0. Folks, I told you this yesterday. Now, Rand Paul, and I got to be true to what I'm telling this audience. What did I tell you when this went over to the Senate? And Rand Paul called it Obamacare Light, and Rand Paul came out against it. I looked right at the camera and I said, you know what? I said, I'm going to stick with Rand Paul on this. Okay? I'm going to stick with Rand Paul. Period. And I am here today to tell you I am still going to stick with Rand Paul. Because I'm not for sure. Let me put this out here, because I'm not for sure that this is not all a scripted, everything here is not scripted. That on Monday, Mitch McConnell is going to tell Chuck Schumer to jump off a bridge, and he's going to pass repeal, and Tuesday he's going to work with Democrats, and Wednesday Democrats, or Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, they are at a mic with a camera yelling Medicaid, and Republicans hate the disabled. You know, we're going to kick the disabled off Medicaid. We're going to increase things for the elderly. We're going to kill the patient. I'm not for sure on both sides of that aisle that all of this camera drama might not be created on both sides of the aisle just to move us to Obamacare 2.0. I'm serious, folks. I just am beginning to think, I've been thinking it for some time, but I'm beginning to think that national run healthcare, that's what you have now, national run healthcare, basically what it is here to stay. Subsidizing to tell you the answer is, and all you get's the little clip, to tell you the answer is that your premiums are not going to go down, and we're going to give you we're going to subsidize your insurance so your premiums can come down. I'm just telling you, folks, I know you out there may have a business. I have a business. I don't want a subsidy, all right? I don't want to even say, I don't want to look at the camera and say, I would like a subsidy. How would you like one? I don't want one. What if we get to the point where, you know, the Cadillac plan, all right? All right, well, we all know why it's the Cadillac plan. Well, what if we get to the point that everybody can't buy a Cadillac? But we do want everybody to have power windows, you know, all the features, but in a downgraded model, but you still can't afford a car. It might be as simplistic as could be, but what about subsidizing car purchase? What about subsidizing a car purchase? What about if you go over and you purchase a car to keep the car manufacturers going? We call this a public-private partnership, right? What about if you went over and said, oh, well, okay, well, and the dealer said, and you got a salesperson, well, you want that car and it's $32,000. How much do you have? And you say, well, you know, I can finance, because my job, I can finance, you know, 26. Don't worry, you have the $8,000 government subsidy that we can use towards that. Have you used that? You get it every 3 years. That regardless of how that sounded, how would you like for everything how would you like for people? There's people that have to buy the $99 cell phone. I mean, they can't afford the $400 and $500 or $600 iPhone. They should get a subsidy to buy their iPhone. Why are private insurance companies going to get a subsidy from our government? Why? Okay? Just tell you folks, I'm with Rand Paul. Here is something. All right, you remember Newt Gingrich made a contract with America. All right? Newt Gingrich made a contract with America. That was big. But what Newt Gingrich's contract with America was to that time in political history, repealing Obamacare is 10 times more. Because see, there's not when Newt Gingrich ran on the contract with America, nothing has ever come along like repeal Obamacare for the political election cycle. There's not one. I told you yesterday, and Rand Paul penned an op-ed yesterday, sent it to Breitbart. I think they have it, and it was Rand Paul. Rand Paul said, "I miss the old days when Republicans stood for repealing Obamacare. Republicans across the country and every member of my caucus campaigned on repeal, often declaring they would tear out Obamacare root and branch." Folks, if we had the research staff here and we had the time and we got done at 10 o'clock, and Sam has so many other things that she does here at FYN during the course of the day, but I could just say, here's the mission, Sam. I want you to pull this up. We could inundate you with an 8-hour show of representatives, senators that if you elect me, I'm going to end Obamacare. How many times I voted to repeal it? Not one senator, Republican senator, not one is in Washington, D.C. that did not promise you they would repeal Obamacare. Not one. Not one member, Republican member in Washington, D.C. is there that did not promise their constituents they would repeal Obamacare. Period. Now, the Democrats continually say, why don't we get in a room and fix the Affordable Care Act? Fix the Affordable Care Act. I'm not for sure that the smoke and mirrors you see is not really. See, the Republicans could do it, and they could do it and come home and say, without the Democrats, the Republicans can do it and come home and say, hey, we repealed Obamacare. Now, as long as you keep telling the lie, people will believe it. So if they come at home and everybody says we repealed Obamacare, the media jumps on board that you repealed Obamacare. Everybody, no matter what you see on the internet, we repealed Obamacare. And I support President Trump, but President Trump comes out and says we did what we promised the American people, we repealed Obamacare. Then you go off to work and say, oh, they repealed Obamacare. It's about time they did something they promised. Well, when you get into the nuts and bolts, the Democrats can come home and say, we stood strong for, the ACA, the Affordable Care Act. We did not buckle to the Republicans. So they can tell the lie, and the Republicans can tell the lie, and everybody can go home and talk to their constituents. There's a thought. And say, I stood for this and I stood for that. When really, what they're doing, is what they're calling fixing Obamacare. Now, I'm saying fixing loosely. To fix Obamacare, I don't know if that's possible. But that's what they are doing, is an attempt to fix Obamacare. Watch and see. Watch and see. Rand Paul calls it Obamacare 2.0. What happened? Now too many Republicans are falling all over themselves to stuff hundreds of billions of taxpayer dollars into a bill that doesn't repeal Obamacare and feeds big insurance huge bailouts. It does. Obamacare regulations still here. They're still here. Taxes, many still in place. Totaling of billions of dollars. Insurance company bailouts? Yeah, those too. Remember when Republicans complained about Obamacare risk corridors? Remember when we called the corridors nothing more than insurance company bailouts? I remember when one prominent GOP candidate during a presidential debate explicitly called out the Obamacare risk corridors as a bailout to insurance companies. Does anyone else remember any of this? Do you remember anything? I mean, I want Rand Paul. Do you? Do you remember 1 million people? Do you remember 1 million people at the Washington Monument at the D.C. there? Because government took over our health care, Obamacare? Where are you now? Do we remember anything we're fighting for? Now the Senate GOP plan being put forward is chock full of insurance bailout money to the tune of nearly $200 billion. Republicans present company excluded, present company excluded himself, now support the idea of lowering your insurance premium by giving a subsidy to the insurance company. Remarkable if the GOP now supports an insurance stabilization fund. An insurance stabilization fund to lower insurance prices. How about free market competition to lower insurance prices? What about buying across state lines? Let's see what happens to lower insurance prices as soon as there's free market competition. There's no competition here. To lower your insurance premiums would be a subsidy. Remarkable. Okay? Now if the GOP now supports an insurance stabilization fund to lower insurance premiums, maybe they now support new car stabilization fund to lower the price of cars, or maybe GOP would support the iPhone stabilization fund to lower the price of phones. The possibilities are limited. Once you accept that the federal government should subsidize prices, this is a dangerous road. I can't stand this. Subsidize prices. I remember when Republicans favored the free choice of the marketplace. The Senate Obamacare bill does not repeal Obamacare. I want to repeat that so everyone realizes why I vote no, and it stands now as it stands now. It does not repeal Obamacare. The Senate Obamacare bill does not repeal Obamacare, not even close. In fact, the Senate GOP bill codifies and likely expands many aspects of Obamacare. The Democrats want to get in a room and fix Obamacare. The Republicans want to repeal it. So if they use words over here with the Democrats and the Republicans use words over here and they all manipulate us, okay? And this one says we repealed it, this one says we stood strong, but at the end of the day, the GOP bill codifies and likely expands many aspects of Obamacare, expands many. That may be the Obamacare fixes the DNC's really looking for, but they can't admit it. They can't come out and admit we like the fixes, okay? Because if you get this off our backs and people aren't upset at home, we can still say we stood strong, whatever. I mean, the Senate Obamacare light bill codifies a federal entitlement to insurance with the Senate GOP bill. Republicans for the first time will signal that they favor a key aspect of Obamacare, federal taxpayer funding a private insurance purchases. I really cannot believe we're going to go down that route. I told you yesterday on this show, you remember on this show yesterday, I said, let me tell you something. I said every Republican up there ran on repeal Obamacare, bragging they voted to repeal Obamacare, and Senator Pat Toomey from Pennsylvania said, we didn't expect to be here, okay? The bill will transfer billions of dollars to people who will then transfer billions of dollars to insurance companies. What a great business model. Encourage the federal government to use taxpayer money to buy a private company's product. Great business model. That is, if you are big insurance. Remarkable. The Senate Obamacare light bill does what the Democrats forgot to do. Appropriate billions of dollars for Obamacare's cost-sharing reductions, aka subsidies. Cost-sharing subsidies, reductions. Every time you hear cost-sharing reductions, that's your tax money. I'm telling you right now, really, Republicans are going to fund Obamacare subsidies that the Democrats forgot to fund? Doesn't sound much like repeal to me. One might even argue it's worse than Obamacare Light because it actually creates a giant super fund to bail out insurance companies, something even Democrats feared to do. I was first elected in the heated days of the heated days of the Tea Party tidal wave. Then tens of thousands of citizens, remember? Tens of thousands of citizens gathered on the central lawn to protest big government. Where are you now? Big government, big debt, and government takeover of healthcare. I was there. You were there. America was there. We did this. We stood there on the lawn, okay? Protesting big government takeovers. Remember when government took over General Motors and we said, government Motors, why are we going to subsidize and send money to insurance companies? I was first elected. Oh, this citizenry won in 4 elections, okay? Each time, listen to me, this citizenry won in 4 elections, the Tea Party group. Each time the GOP establishment told conservatives, we can't repeal Obamacare till we have all 3 branches of government. Finally, in 2016, that came to pass. Republicans now control all 3 branches of government, and the best that is offered is Obamacare Light, keeping the Obamacare subsidies, keeping some of the Obamacare taxes, creating a giant insurance bailout fund, and keeping most of Obamacare regulations. Shame, shame on the GOP for promising repeal and instead reaffirming. It's Obamacare fix. It's not repeal. I told you before, I have to stay with Rand Paul. I have to. I just have to on this one. Now, Rand, there's some things that Rand Paul and I had to go a different. I got to stay with him on this. They lied to you. The Democrats saying, why can't we get in a room and just fix the ACA? Fix it. We agree there's things need fixed. Well, truthfully, I'm not calling it fixed. It's government insurance, okay? Subsidies. Oh my God, the private companies. I'm your host, BKP. It's 8:28. I'm going to take a brief break. Now here, just when I thought I could not enjoy politics any more than I do, anymore, not 1 ounce more could I enjoy politics, then who comes along? Kid Rock. I mean, Kid Rock, right there, that's my man, Kid Rock. It is being said that he is going to run for Senate in Michigan. Senate in Michigan. All right? Just saying. And I thought, would there ever come a day I could not enjoy what I do anymore? And today I get to come in and tell you, my man Kid Rock getting ready to rock that vote up there in Michigan. I don't know. Maybe he's in with the Russians too. You never know. I'm your host, BKP. Oh, President. Oh, where's Pepe Le Pew? Because the president is in Gay Paris. Gay Paris. That's where President is. President Trump. He's over there with Macron. He's over there with President Macron. Hey, let's come back and talk Georgia governor, okay? Today, governor's race. Just a minute. We'll go back to national, so I don't want my national audience to leave. But Georgia's governor's race. Michael Williams, candidate, he's a state senator. State Senator Michael Williams, candidate for governor, is going to hold a press conference today at 2 o'clock to talk about Casey Cagle. Wow, it's on between these two. I don't know what happened there. We'll be back right after these messages. Sam, take us a break.